What's up, Nakamas? The 3 cost Sanji, yes, this card costs 3, not 6, is the real deal. And for today, we're gonna discuss how it fits perfectly on this blue-purple Reiju deck. Today, we went 3-0 in our local tournament. And if you know how the Reiju deck actually works, so we have a lot of cards that let us put Dons back into our Don deck. So most of the time, we would be having less Don compared to our opponents. And that is the time where this is really good. And as part of the tournament, we won packs. So let's open these up and then go to the deck list. Our first opponent was a mono blue Crocodile. With the addition of a lot of cards from OP07, I've been seeing a lot of Crocodile in Japan lately. We won that. It was a very close game actually. And mind you, the new Boa Hancock and the new both SRs, the Hancock and the Jinbei, are actually really good cards, and it has really boosted that Crocodile deck. So let's see what we got from the tournament. Let's just open these packs quickly. These are OP07 packs. First, we got a rare from Margaret. I love this card. And my second match was, it's a mono black Gecko Moria. Pretty standard list. And it didn't use the new Sabo that I was using in my Gecko Moria list. So it's basically a Gecko Moria list without any OP07 cards. But still, it's a very solid deck. Oh, we got a Frankie. This is also a very good card. This is one of the better rares that you can get in the set actually. The 2K counter. And I've seen a lot of NL slowly using this card. And it has a very good trigger wherein you draw a card, and then if your life is 1 or less, you get to put this onto the battlefield. So yeah, we won that. Moria was a very tight game again. And okay, let's open these first. This is the third pack that we have. We have Foxy Leader. Oh, still rares. 9. I hope we get like an SR here. And then we only had 3 rounds. The third game that I had was against a blue-purple. No, it's a blue-yellow ace. So it went down to the wire. We went into like a last 3 turns. And I won on the very last turn. On that third turn. So it was very cool. Last pack in our prize packs. Again, a rare Trafalgar Law. That's cool. Looking for this card actually if I'm trying to build a Boa Hancock deck. So let's get into my deck list for the Reiju deck that I used today. Let's get these out of the way. So first things first, our leader is Vinsmoke Reiju, blue-purple leader from OP06. So just a quick refresher. Reiju's ability says that on your turn and only once each turn, when you return a Dawn card into your Dawn deck, you get to draw a card. Then the new card that was added on this list, this card from OP07, Sanji, 2K counter. It's a 6 cost, 6K. It has an ability that while you have 2 or more fewer Dons than your opponent, then this card will cost 3 less if it's from your hand. Okay, next we have, these are my Dons. Let's just get these out of the way. So I'm playing a full playset of the 2 cost Reiju. You can activate the draw ability of Reiju. And the awesome thing is that most of the Vinsmoke family, you get to return 1 Don to your deck, and then you'll have the transformed version of these characters with the Germa suits on. So in Reiju's case, she's gonna be searching for the 4-cost Reiju, either from your hand or from your trash. So speaking of that, we have 4 copies of the 4-cost Reiju. So she's a 4-cost 5k and has a 1k counter on her. And the ability is very simple. On play, if you have equal or less Dawn than your opponent, and if you have 5 or less cards in your hand, you get to draw 2 cards. Next, we have Ichiji, so Vinsmoke Ichiji. So this is the normal version with the same ability, activate main and return a Dawn card. This will search the 7-cost Ichiji. So the 7-cost Ichiji is actually very cool. This is our attacker. So it's a 7-cost 7,000 attacker. Doesn't have a counter on it though. So on play, if you have equal to or less Dawn than your opponent, then you give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 for this turn, and this gains rush. Next, we are running 3 copies of Niji. So this is the normal version, 3 cost for 3,000 attack, has a 1k counter, and same with the other 2. It has an activate main ability wherein we get to return 1 Dawn. This will get the 5-cost Niji from your hand or from your trash. So we also have a matching 3 copies for the 5-cost Niji. The good thing about this, same as the Reiju one, is that it has a counter. So only Ichiji doesn't have a counter. So the effect of Niji is that on play, if you have less or equal Dawns than your opponent, you can select one of the following. Either you KO up to one of your opponent's characters that costs 2 or less, or you can bounce one of your opponent's characters that costs 4 or less. Then we have only 2 copies of Yonji. The normal version is a 2-cost 2k and has a 1k counter. Then same, activate main minus 1 Dawn. Crash this and you'd be able to get the 4-cost Yonji from your hand or from your trash. So the 4-cost Yonji is a 4-cost 5k blocker, and it has an ability that if you have equal or less Dawn than your opponent, then this is a 6k. Then 2 copies of Vinsmoke Judge, so the dad of the family. Very strong card, 8 cost, 8,000, no counters on this card. On play, we can return 1 Dawn to our Dawn deck, and we need to trash 2 cards from our hand, and we can play up to 4 Germa 6/6 type cards with power 4 or less from our trash, and they should have different names. And it also has an active main once per turn that you can return 1 Dawn to your Dawn deck, and you can get to rest to one of your opponent's Dawn cards. Then if we have the father, we have the mom, Vinsmoke Sora. She is a 2k counter, 1 cost but 0 attack. And on play, you can discard a card from your hand, and if you have equal or less Dawn than your opponent, you can add up to 1 card with 4,000 power or less that has the Vinsmoke family type from your trash to your hand. Then I'm only running 3 copies of Kaya, a 2k counter, and her on-play ability allows us to put cards into our trash, especially if we are setting up for a judge turn the next turn. So I would be putting the necessary normal Vinsmoke family cards into the graveyards so that we can reanimate them. Then I'm running 3 copies of Charlotte Purin. I really love this card and I hate facing against this card. Has a 1k counter on her, and on play, your opponent returns all of their cards in their hand to their deck and they shuffle their deck. Then your opponent draws 5 cards. What I noticed in OP07 meta is that everybody seems to go to the long game and just taking life at the early stage and maintaining a big hand. So seeing our opponent's face while our opponent is maintaining that hand and you drop a Purin, they get to shuffle, they lose those cards from their hand and draw a random 5 cards. And not to mention, even if our opponent has 5 cards and they spent the previous turn manipulating their top of their library, for example, to sculpt a good hand, you can also drop a Purin that way. Then we are running 4 copies of Germa Kingdom. This is the stage. So it has activate main. You can discard 1 card and then you rest this stage. If you do, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 Germa card and add it to your hand. Germa 66 is a 1 cost event, and the main ability for this is to look at the top 5 cards from your deck, reveal up to 1 card with a type including Germa, but not this card, not Germa 66, and you add that card to your hand. Then the rest goes to the bottom of your deck, and it has a trigger to draw a card. I hope you learned something on how this deck particularly works. So it's a very challenging and fun deck wherein you need to manage your limited Dawn cards and you need to properly time when to return your Dawn cards to get the needed effects of the rare Vinsmoke family cards. So if you stayed until this point, then you're not just a nakama, but a super nakama. And I'm very thankful for that. Thank you very much for the support. And if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. We're gonna be talking a lot of One Piece. And with that said, that's it for this video. See you in the next one.